Today on Locked On Rockies, the Angels get revenge in the series finale as Michael Lorenzen continues to be one of the biggest concerns of the Colorado Rockies roster.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock On Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the fourth day of the month of June in 2026. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, and we are bringing you your daily Rockies talk right here on all your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Today on the show, the Angels crushed the Rockies in the finale, and the big takeaway from this, obviously a bummer to lose big, but it's especially a bummer as Michael Lorenzen continues to be kind of a liability for the Colorado Rockies here, as he has not been able to be the veteran arm the Rockies were looking for here. We'll take a look at some of the good things that happened on offense. There weren't a lot of them, but some nice pop there, some good defense in this one as well. But in other news for the Rockies, TJ Rumfield was named Rookie of the Month. It's a big deal for the Colorado Rockies. We'll explain why. Plus, we'll give early All-Star game picks as well. All coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. But I want to thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. I am, of course, Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire, been bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk here on the Locked On Rockies podcast for over 6 seasons now. That's hundreds of episodes of the Locked On Rockies podcast, going through the good, the bad, the ugly, and all things Rockies baseball here with you, the Rockies fans. And unfortunately, the good times come to an end as the Angels blow out the Rockies here 11-4. And I just can't ignore this here. The performances from key members of this rotation are unacceptable. And these are guys, Lorenzen especially. Freeland is a seasoned vet, and Lorenzen, kind of a journeyman going around trying to just continue to extend the career here. But if you're not going to be effective at Coors Field, you need to be effective on the road. And that he hasn't been effective on the road. Michael Lorenzen better on the road, but it's still like we talked about in the numbers before, still not pretty. Everything is considerably less, but now when you add in and factor in this misery of a game here, it ain't going to look any prettier. Things here have not gone all that well for Lorenzen here. Now, back-to-back appearances for Michael Lorenzen where he doesn't make it to the fourth inning. He has allowed, in the month of May, he allowed 23 earned runs. He continues his streak now of multiple games in a row. Now, what is this? 4 games in a row of allowing at least 3 runs. It's zooming out even further now. In 5 out of his last 6 starts, Michael Lorenzen has allowed more than 5 runs. And of those starts, 4 of them have been on the road. We knew there was going to be some adjustments to Coors Field. We knew that might be an issue here. But this is still a guy that's not able to go out and put the Rockies in a position to win here. The barrier and the difference here, or I shouldn't say the limit. Not that's the better word for a Rockies starter is about 3 runs. You got to go 5. You got to go 3 runs. We've talked about that time and time again. Why has Tomoyuki Sagano been successful for the Rockies? Because he has been able to go 5 innings and do 3 runs or less of damage. In this game specifically, if Michael Lorenzen was able to keep that, and the bullpen, which didn't have a good night either, just a forgettable, tough night for the Rockies here in general. If you keep it a manageable game, the Rockies 4 spot and the Rockies offense coming alive late is now puts you in a little bit of a different position. Obviously, that's wishful thinking. That's not the right way to look at it here, but the Rockies have now lost 5 out of the last 6 games that Michael Lorenzen has started this year. And again, it's not like it's bad luck. It's not like it's close games or anything like that. It's big blowout, tough performances like we saw in this one against the Angels here. And this is supposed to be a guy that we're supposed to be able to count on, and a guy that's supposed to be one of those stabilizers. Good to see 5 strikeouts, 10 hits, 8 earned runs, including a home run there, and just giving up lots of hard contact, lots of extra base hits as well. Actually, I'm sorry. The extra base hits were only the home run and a double given off, if I'm reading ESPN correctly here. But still, it's these what's missing about the Rockies rotation, and one of the things that this isn't surprising, right? This isn't something that you shouldn't have not expected. There's just not a lot of ability to kind of dominate a game. What was so nice about having Chase Dollander is Chase Dollander was the guy in the Rockies rotation that when he goes out there, he's going to be the one that has the chance to dominate. He's going to be the one that can give you 7, 8, 9 strikeouts, throw the ball 100 miles an hour, make it work, make it difficult, challenge the batters. Lorenzen, Freeland, Sagano, they're going to have to, be really effective with their pitches, get the weak contact, get the strikeout when they can, but basically they need to execute their pitches and do their job. And unfortunately, in the case of Michael Lorenzen and Kyle Freeland, they're not executing. And this is the thing where it's like, okay, I brought this up when we talked about Freeland earlier in the week. This is we heard a lot about of this new Rockies, the pitching philosophy, pitching approach, and all that stuff. How are they going to fix these guys? Because I see DFA, release, trade, all this stuff. Who is going to trade for this version of Kyle Freeland and this version of Michael Lorenzen? What are you going to get with these guys? The most likely situation here is you're probably going to be stuck with these. You need these guys as well. Are you fully confident that you can call people up from the minor league system that are going to outperform 10+ year veterans in the league in a spot where these guys need to be able to eat innings and do their job? The something that Lorenzen has not done now in back-to-back starts. There might be a case. There's certainly an argument, but Tanner Gordon hasn't thrived. Ryan Feltner's still trying to get himself fully 100% back from being on the injured list. The Rockies are still waiting on what happens with Chase Dollander. The Rockies need depth in the rotation. But these are the guys that we were supposed to look at and not worry about as much. The worries about Kyle Freeland have been there and have been in the back of minds for people for a while. But for these guys, for veteran leaders, as they're supposed to be on this team, to be struggling this mightily, they need to work with Leishman. They need to get in there and they need to start figuring out and making the adjustments. They need to start tweaking their pitches. They need to start working on maybe it's a mechanic thing. Maybe they focus on certain pitches here. Because the Rockies can't continue to get brutal, miserable starts where they're down 6 runs in the 3rd inning and they got no chance. Really, it just makes the order. It was the 2nd inning, mind you, where it just makes the comeback a tall, difficult task. It is just like when the Rockies pitchers keep them in the games, and it's up to the offense to back them up. And as much as I've sat and preached about the offense being the key part of this team, the Rockies rotation has to be better. And again, it's not just Coors Field stuff. It's not just that. It's Michael Lorenzen and Kyle Freeland are getting punished. They are leaving things in hittable zones and they are being hit. There's just no way around it. They're not fooling anybody. They're not inducing the weak contact. They're not executing the pitches that they need to execute to keep their team in the ballgame. I don't expect shutout. I don't expect shutout appearances from anybody in the Rockies rotation, with the exception of Dollander, and I don't expect that every time from him. The Rockies starting rotation is going to give up runs, but at the rate that they're giving them up, especially Lorenzen and Freeland, is unacceptable for guys that have been experienced and qualified pitchers in this league. Obviously, it could be a sign for guys that they don't have it anymore, and the talent's not there. But don't fool me with that when Tomoyuki Sagano is in your rotation and having success as well. These guys are the pros. These guys are the guys that are supposed to be the ones that can really latch on, make the adjustments, understand their stuff, understand who they are, and they are the ones that need to start executing. You cannot keep trotting out these type of performances if you're Michael Lorenzen, because it's a mess. An above 8 ERA is a mess. It does not, obviously. There was another thing, TJ Stats on Twitter, and again, the Michael Lorenzen and Kyle Freeland are costing the Rockies wins right now, statistically, and it's just, these are not the names that it's acceptable for that to be the case. It's not acceptable for Ezekiel Tovar to be on that list. It's not acceptable for 3 Rockies to be on that list. But especially not guys that are veteran, established pitchers in the league. So now it's up to them and the Rockies coaching staff to figure out how they can make adjustments here and get themselves on track to start snapping this tough streak and get themselves back in a position to have a stronger finish here as we're getting closer to the second half of the season. Not quite there, but it is the numbers continue to be absolutely brutal for Michael Lorenzen. Let's talk a little bit about what went well for the offense here and TJ Rumfield winning Rookie of the Month. That's all coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Indeed-sponsored jobs, workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to hire for is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need that right hire, this is a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Indeed-sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Less stress, less time, more results. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Back at it again here for today's episode of Locked On Rockies, segment number 2. Want to remind you, get your Locked On Rockies ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club Discord server and lots more when you join the Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month, $50 a year, and you can get in on the action with a 7-day free trial at lockedonrockies.supercast.com. That's lockedonrockies.supercast.com, or check the link in the show notes for more details. So that's really, in this one, sweeps are hard. Teams are especially a team that has that a little more thump than what I think people would expect. The Angels had a lot of loud outs and a lot of big hits, a lot of solid contact here as they rally for 16 hits in the ball game against the Rockies. Tough day for Keegan Thompson there, 2 2/3 as well. He lets up 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts in there, but combined 15 hits there between Lorenzen and Thompson, and that's all happening within the first 6 innings of the ball game. Shook so far scoreless in his appearances, so good to see him there as he is getting his first experience. Seth Halverson comes out as a walk, but a scoreless frame as well, so small victory there. The Rockies as a whole go 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position here, but Tyler Freeman connecting on a nice home run there, and also a nice 2-hit day for Troy Johnston as well. Not a great day for the Rockies offense. 9 hits. They drew 3 walks. The one thing that's a frustrating part about the 9 strikeouts here is Urena is one of the league leaders in pitches out of the zone. And it's just one of the things I don't understand about the Rockies' approach in this series was you got a team that walks a lot and you got a team that has got guys that throw out of the zone a lot. but it's chase. It's aggression. I don't get it all the time. I get it. It's in the core and the DNA there, but the scouting report coming into this series has to be like, guys, patient at bats. And that's the reason why they were able to get so many walks in the first game, is because they actually were able to take that. And they do draw a couple here, but when you got a team that's reeling, when you got a team that's got arms that are struggling to put the ball in the zone, like we know the Rockies sometimes do, it can be a big problem. But 7 hits for the Rockies here. Rumfield picking up a hit, Goodman picking up a hit, Sterling Thompson also picking up a hit as well, but a multi-strikeout day for him. So again, a forgettable loss for them, but not a forgettable month for TJ Rumfield. He's named the NL Rookie of the Month here, and we're reading from the MLB. Here are the MLB Monthly Award winners for May from Theo DeRosa, and let's read what he's got to say about TJ here. The Rockies acquired Rumfield from the Yankees in January in exchange for righty reliever Angel Shavi'i, and the first baseman has made the most of his opportunity with Colorado. After a solid March and April, .263 batting average and a .743 OPS, Rumfield took a step forward in May, batting .310 with 4 homers, 12 RBI, and an .883 OPS for the Rockies. He's the 8th Colorado player to win the award since its inception in 2001. The previous one was Nolan Jones in September 2023. So maybe obviously we put that in the back on the back burner there, but that is clearly has been a win. This is we talked about it before, but TJ Rumfield here putting on this performance has been absolutely spectacular to start the season. The real main question mark and the only thing that remains to be seen is keeping it consistent here throughout the entirety of the season, continuing to add on to this, continuing to demonstrate and show why he has been such a success. To get 1.2 WAR, and we talked about this already this week a little bit about kind of going through that, but to get this level of production from first base right now, and again, the sample size isn't huge yet, but it certainly suggests here that the Rockies are finally getting production from that first base position that has just been such a difficult and problem area for them here, and it just kind of hammers home. I remember my buddy Jambron telling me about it. The Rockies just need to have their position players not be finishing this. They can't be negative WAR. Or obviously you don't want that, but there's a huge difference when you are on the positive side of that wins above replacement. And then when you just factor in and consider just the how horrid some of the performances have been at first base for the Rockies at this over the last couple of years, it's refreshing to see a guy come out here and really, absolutely make the most out of his opportunity. Now, the thing that we do have to remind ourselves here before we get ahead of ourselves, especially comparing him to someone like Michael Toglia. Michael Toglia in 2024, 2.1 WAR, 116 games played. He was 218, 311, 456. The big damage there was that 25 home runs. But I think we're seeing obviously a much more complete player, a guy that's not so power heavy dependent on this, and a guy that isn't going to strike out 147 times. Michael Toglia last year there in 88 games played. So we're getting close to comparable range here. Not one for one immediately here, as we're still looking at around another month's worth of baseball here before Rumfield and Toglia have played the same amount of time in a season. But in 88 games for the Colorado Rockies, Toglia was a negative 1.6 WAR player last year, batting under 200 and only having the 11 home runs. Like to just see that's the level of performance and what the Rockies were looking at there at first base for a bit. And then just, throw in all of your replacement guys and all of your other veteran guys that have filled in and slotted in over there. And looking at that, I just kind of am doing the Michael Toglia comp where it's just like, no, the step forward is here. TJ Rumfield with obviously a nice assist here from the Angels in this one. He's only 3 home runs away from tying Toglia's total during the 88 games that he played there. In terms of RBI here generated from TJ Rumfield this season compared to Tolia, he's only 2 away. Stolen bases here. Let's take a look. No stolen bases yet, and we'll hopefully he had 5 there at the minor league level last year. We'll see if that'll change. So nothing there, but TJ Rumfield is outperforming Michael Tolia here by kind of leaps and bounds. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself there, but still, it's a clear sign that this is a guy that this is a hit. And the consistency thing is still going to be the question that we have to ask everybody. And I don't want to overreact, but when we're seeing Rumfield put up the numbers that Tolia was putting up in almost an extra month's worth of baseball, with much better actual batting numbers and statistic when you're talking average OBP and all those other things, the things that make you a more well-rounded offensive threat. This was and to trade just for Angel Shavi'i, this was a slam dunk. And again, something I hope that continues to grow here. A guy that clearly has been waiting for this opportunity, has clearly been hungry for this opportunity. And since the Rockies have given him that opportunity, he's been starting to really run with it here. And now the most hopeful thing that we can, the thing that we really need to hope to see is is this moving forward and this happening throughout the whole season, instead of it just being a hot start here. I'd like to see it continue as the dog days are coming, right? The slog of the season is just getting started here. And as we mentioned before, the Rockies have a schedule that is not very easy, ranked 6th in strength of schedule remaining here. I believe that was ranked off of ESPN. So, all right. So how do you feel about TJ Rumfield? Do you think that this was as much of a slam dunk home run as I thought? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Let's talk All-Star Game picks. Let's look ahead to what's next for the Rockies, all coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes KALSHI. Baseball season is here, not just baseball. It is finals season as hockey and basketball have entered the finals. So we got high stakes, big games going on every day. Not only do you got awesome Rockies action and all of the action from Major League Baseball, but you also got the biggest and most important games in the terms of hockey and basketball. And game 1 in the NBA Finals and game 1 in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, absolute bangers. And you could get in on all the live action with KALSHI, because KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, so as you're watching Brunson start going on a heater and things starting to fall apart here for the Spurs, well, you can react to that. Or maybe in game 2, the Spurs start going on a run and you say, I was leaning Knicks, but now I'm going to go with the Spurs. You can buy in and out of your position. And let me just give you an example here coming up for today's Phillies and Padres game. The Phillies have a 61% probability to beat the Padres here, and that is going to be a $162 payout if you trade $100. As the playoffs heat up, those numbers are going to move in real time, and you can buy in and out anytime. For a limited time, download the KALSHI app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, KALSHI. Trade on anything. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contracting trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. That's kalshi.com/regulatory. Locked On Rockies here, back with you all. Hey, the All-Star game, they started throwing out the social media graphics and telling you to vote for your favorite. So I'm curious, who do you think is going to represent the Rockies in the All-Star game? Do you think the Rockies have a chance, a shot at multiple all-stars this year. You might sit there and say that's kind of crazy. That's you're getting ahead of yourself. What are you sure about that? But you got to take a look here. We were talking about WAR in the last segment, right? Hunter Goodman's at 1.6 WAR. He's got 15 home runs again. He is settled into a very similar groove to where he was last year. Maybe you'd like to see some of those other numbers improve, but he's got 4 stolen bases here. He's got 27 RBI, 11 doubles, 53 hits here. TJ Rumfield, the rookie of the year that we were just talking about, he's got 1.2 WAR on the season here, 286, 359, 457 batting line with an 816 OPS. He's driven in 30. He's got 21 RBIs. 30 is the team leader for the Colorado Rockies here as well. Or what about Jake McCarthy? Obviously, it's been kind of a more of a heat up and hasn't been playing as much as maybe some other guys here, but he's had a monster month. He's got 10 stolen bases on the year. He's batting 284, 329, 465. Only at a 0.4 WAR, though, so obviously a steep hill to climb there for him in this one. But you could also go and shift to the pitching side here for the one and only Antonio Senzatella. Senzatella has been a 2.2 WAR player here. He's easily been one of the best relief arms in baseball. He's got a sub-1 whip. He's got a sub-2 ERA. He's only allowed 2 home runs in 34 2/3 innings pitched. He's got 26 strikeouts, got 6.8 strikeouts per 9. Obviously, he's not a starter there. But what about Tomoyuki Sagano at 1.6 WAR with a 3.98 ERA? Someone that's got, that's been pretty darn solid for the Rockies and consistent here. So what's nice about this is it's not just one thing, right? Last year it was just Hunter Goodman and that's it with the nail. It's nice to see that there are a few Rockies with at least some arguments here for being the Rockies all-star. I think if you had to pick the all-star, and if you're only picking one, can you deny Antonio Senzatella? Can you deny the best player on the Rockies by WAR and by performance this year? It has been Antonio Senzatella. And a guy that's a vet, a guy that went into the bullpen hesitant to go into the bullpen at first, a lot of question marks about his career, and then he goes out and gives you the performance that he's been giving you this season. I think Antonio Senzatella has arguably the strongest case to be the Rockies all-star representative. But if Hunter Goodman continues to swing the bat well, the name's already a little familiar after last year. If Senzatella keeps pitching well, if McCarthy keeps going on a heater, maybe he could be a sleeper there. He will never get enough votes, obviously. The Rockies will never gain enough popularity votes for guys that maybe have a case to make it. But if I had to pick right now, I would say you can't deny Antonio Senzatella the recognition for what he's done so far this season and what we hope to continue to see for the rest of the season up until the trade deadline, until we see what the Rockies do there. Perhaps. Let me know who you think the Rockies early all-stars are here and who's been the biggest surprise and the biggest disappointment in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section here. All right. The Rockies have an off day here today, and then they have a home set against the National League Central. Milwaukee's in town as Ryan Feltner is going to be taking on Sproat here. Let me get the numbers for this ball game here for you guys as we're getting ready. Before we dive into this, I do want to let you know that we are going to be crossing over with Locked On Angels, talking about the series, of course, a little bit more, but I'm going to dive in a little deeper. 2 teams, frustrating ownerships, similar positions for a while, but also in completely different positions. And I want to get their insight and their look here on some of that stuff. So we'll be talking talking about that and diving into that with the Super Halo Bros there from Locked On Angels. Brandon Sproat, he is 1-4 this year with a 6.24 ERA, a 1.53 whip over 49 innings pitched, 48 hits allowed, 52 strikeouts. So every time you see those, the strikeouts higher than the innings pitched, you always kind of pull on your collar. But again, something to keep in mind here for the Rockies, 27 walks. Make him earn his outs. in this one, especially considering he's given up 10 home runs as well. And hope that the Rockies can get some home cooking here against the Brewers, who we know are going to be able to pitch. A 3.15 team ERA, a whip of 1.18 there. They've walked 200 batters this year, so like we mentioned, that walk's going to be a factor, but they've also struck 566 batters out as a team here with an opponent batting average against their pitching staff at 217. So this is going to be interesting here. Brewers offense overall as a team statistically not that impressive, but it's the Rockies at home. It's going to be tough. We'll see here. And this is the Brewers here against San Francisco, an 8-run performance, a 16-run performance as well. So you never know when the bats might break out. Heading into this series, they're going to play one more here against the Giants before heading to Colorado. But coming into this series against San Francisco, they had swept the St. Louis Cardinals. They beat the Astros in a series, and now they are in a position to beat the San Francisco Giants in the series, not sweep as they lose a 1-0 game here from Logan Webb. But this could be 3 straight series wins in a row for the Brewers coming into town. So it's we know that the Brewers are a good team, and we know that they might be a problem for the Rockies. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us here on today's episode. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out all the great stuff on Locked On MLB, Back to the Bullpen, the MLB Game Night Show, and Locked On MLB with our guy Sully. We got you covered with Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs as well for more Colorado sports action. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.